Hi, I'm Suzanne Bakker, and today I want to talk to you about how to find your new team member for your nonprofit team or recruitment. And as you can see, I am using a presentation to do that so that I can be sure that I'm staying on point and that I'm using your time as effectively and efficiently as possible. But let me first tell you a little bit about who I am. Hi, I'm Suzanne, and it's my passion to help nonprofit leaders like you professionalize the operational back end of their nonprofit organizations so that you can focus more on your mission, the reason why your nonprofit organization was created, and worry a little bit less about all the other stuff. And I do that. I help you professionalize by sharing my experience working in different nonprofit organizations over the past 30 years, in different roles, in different organizations, working in different countries, in different contexts, on different topics. And what I learned through all of that is that all nonprofit organizations, whether they are big or small, whether they are based in the Netherlands or abroad, whether they are working on one topic or on the other, they face the same challenges when it comes to organization management, to finance management and admin, project design, fundraising, team management, HR and labor law. All these issues, all these are issues at the operational back end that are very similar across all nonprofit organizations that I have been working in and with, and that I'm still working with at this moment. And that is why I thought I wanted to share more widely my experiences and all the lessons that I learned by making mistakes, by seeing mistakes, but of course also by having success stories. And I want to share my experience here in this series on YouTube, but also I'm sharing my experience in weekly articles on my website. I'm sharing it in my weekly Facebook Live sessions on Facebook, in my monthly trainings, in my free Facebook group, and also I do have paid workshops and courses that I offer to nonprofit organizations from across the world. So that's basically what I do. And then you might wonder, what am I focusing on? So I'm focusing on all the fun stuff, all the things that nobody really likes, like finance and admin, organization management, HR and labor law, project design, fundraising, planning. All these things are things that I love and that I love helping you set up in a way that it takes less of your energy, and so that you can feel confident that everything is sorted out well at the back end, so that you can jump in and focus on your mission. Yeah, so those are the topics that I'm going to be talking about here in my video series on YouTube and in other channels where I'm sharing my experience, and of course also in my courses and workshops that I have. So that's what we're going to be working on. And before we dive into the topic of today, I just want to say that we are here together at my home office, my dinner table actually. And I just want to make it feel as if we are here really sitting together, talking to each other about an issue that maybe you're facing, a question that you might have, a topic that you find challenging, or where you're not really sure which direction to take. So I want us to be feeling as if we're talking together as colleagues and finding together the best way out for you, so that you can then worry less about all that stuff and move on and work on your mission, on the reason why your nonprofit was created and why it's working in this world to make things better tomorrow than they are today. Yeah, so please feel that we are together here in this at my dinner table, where you are always welcome to contact me with questions in my free Facebook group. You can find the link in the description of this video, below the video, but also feel free to reach out to me on Messenger or email, whatever is convenient to you. But just feel that we are here together as colleagues, and I'm here to help you find the best way that works for you in your situation, in your specific context, context, considering all the things that you need to consider to come to the best possible solution in that situation. So that's what I want to highlight here before we dive into the topic of today. So let's get going. So let's look at how to find your new team member for your nonprofit team. And the key goal of this recruitment process is, of course, to find the right team member, but that is the team member that is right for the tasks ahead, for the things that you want them to do, but also the team member that is suited to the team and to the organization. So these are 3 things that are important to keep in mind when you are designing your recruitment process and when you are implementing the steps of your recruitment process. So what are things then to look at that I want to highlight for you in this video? So 3 important aspects of this recruitment process are a clear job profile, a clear job advert, and a good selection process and procedure. And then after we've looked at those 3 aspects, I'm going to highlight some to-dos for you that you can start working on today when you're watching this video, even if you don't have in mind to start looking for a new team member just yet. You can still get started with some of the steps so that you are ready and prepared when the time comes that you're going to want to look for a new team member, whether that is a paid team member or a volunteer team member. Doesn't really matter. I think the process applies to all the different kinds of team members that you could need. Even maybe in some cases, some steps can apply to finding a good contractor for your team. Okay, I've been mentioning a couple of times now the word recruitment process. So keep in mind that recruitment is not really one activity, one action. It isn't really done usually very fast. It takes time, and there are several steps involved in the moment from deciding that you want to look for a new team member until you have found the right one that is right for the tasks, for the team and the organization. So when you think about this process, and you can do this now even if you don't have in mind yet that you're going to be looking for a new team member soon, you can start by visualizing this process. So what are the steps that are involved from the moment that you think, oh, we have so much work to do and we need extra hands to help us get it done. That could be volunteer hands, contractor hands, or part-time or full-time employee hands, doesn't matter. So what are the steps from the moment that you realize that you need extra hands on deck until the moment that you can offer somebody a contract, whether they're a volunteer, contractor, or an employee? You will offer them something in writing to formalize the arrangements. So visualize all the different steps in this process and then design that process as a flow chart, making clear what are things that need to be done, who needs to be involved, who's going to be responsible, who's going to be the one deciding in the end on what is the next step to take or what is the choice to be made. And really trying to visualize this clearly so that you don't overlook any of the steps that are involved in this. And then see, once you have this clear, where there are materials that you are going to be needing and how you could standardize them, or which parts of those materials you could standardize. For example, if you're going to put out an announcement that you're looking for a new team member, there is, as we will see in a moment, a section there with information about the organization. That could be something that you can already have ready-made so that you can easily use that and reuse that as needed. You can also think about standardizing different approaches. The process can be the same, but there might be different approaches depending on whether you're looking for a new executive director, a volunteer, or a project manager, for example. And you can also include in your visualization and your process design how and when you're going to be involving your team or different members of the team in the design of the process, in the implementation of the steps, and maybe also in the final decision making. And keep in mind that it's good for you to design the process and standardize things as much as possible, because that will make it easier for you to go through this process when you have a need for it, if you don't need to invent the wheel right then and there. But also having this process described and having things standardized will help you be more reliable, more predictable, more credible towards internal and external parties, and it will also create a sense of transparency if people are aware of how you are going through this process. Yeah, so this is also something that is good for perception internally as well as externally, but the key is, of course, that if you have a process described and all the materials and approaches standardized where possible, that will save you time in the moment when you need it. Okay, so what are three important things in this process? As I said, they are clear job profile, clear ad, and also the selection process. So what about clear job profile? Well, it's clear when you're looking for the right team member for the tasks ahead, and right for the team and the organization as well. You need to be clear what this person needs to be doing. What are those tasks ahead that you want them to take on when they are joining your organization? Yeah, so you need to be very clear on that, and a clear job profile can help you in being clear about what you need, why you need that, and what are aspects of the person's competencies and qualifications that are absolutely needed. Yeah, so most job profiles include these four important sections. First of all, the objective of the position. So why does the position exist in the organization? What is that the person fulfilling that position expected to be able to do, to achieve, to facilitate, to make possible, to make happen in the organization, and of course through the organization in the outside world, perhaps. Yeah, so what is the aim of this position in the organization? What is the role of this position in the organization? Then secondly, important part of the job profile is usually about what are the result areas of that position, what are the main responsibilities, and what are the key tasks. Yeah, so if you have a program manager, then probably one of the main result areas or responsibilities would be to manage programs properly or something like that. And then you can break that down into more concrete tasks, like, for example, making sure that the donor receives their reports in time, making sure that all the activities happen according to the plan, making sure that the output is achieved as planned, etc., etc. So there are different levels of looking at what this person is supposed to be making sure is happening in your organization and in the outside world. What are the result areas, and then what concretely are the tasks that this person is going to be able or need to be able to take on. Yeah, so this is very important to be clear about that for yourself, so that you can also communicate that very clearly to any job applicant, of course. Then the third area in a job profile is about competencies. Yeah, so what are qualities or characteristics that a person should have in order to be able to function in that role and to take care of those responsibilities and tasks, but also in order to be part of the team and aligned with the main values of the organization. And finally, an important part of a job profile is usually, of course, qualification. So what is the experience that a person needs to have? What are maybe technical knowledge or skills that they need to have, and what is maybe the level of education that they need to have. Where I would like to highlight that, of course, you could say we need somebody with a university degree, or somebody who is able to function at the same level, which could be maybe shown through prior work experience. And so somebody who doesn't have a degree might still be able to function at the level that you need, and you can see that maybe based on their previous work experience and references. Okay, so the second aspect that we need to look at is the job ad. And keep in mind that the job ad is a tool to invite the reader of the advertisement to self-identify. Yeah, so they should be able, the reader, the potential applicant, should be able to self-identify that they are a good fit for your organization, for the team, and also for the job. Yeah, so that means that the advertisement should have all the information in it about the organization, very important, about the values of the organization as well, and the requirements in terms of type of person that you're looking for. Yeah, are you looking for somebody who is creative? Are you looking for somebody who is very accurate, very precise? Are you looking for somebody who's a good leader? Or are you looking for somebody who's a good team player? Be sure that this is very clear from your announcement, from your advertisement. And in addition, of course, to the information that you will extract from the job profile about the actual job that the person needs to be doing, make sure that you don't forget to also sketch the organization's values and the mission, which are important for the person to understand whether they would fit into that context, into that environment, and into that kind of team. And also think about if you have specific desires or wishes, for example, in terms of diversity. Maybe you are a team consisting mostly of men or mostly of women, and you would like to have a bit more diversity. So you might like to look for a woman if you have a male-dominated team, or for a man if you are a female-dominated team. So think about whether you have that kind of desires as well, that kind of wishes as well, and then also check if in your context that is something that you can include in your advertisement or not, as maybe as a pro or as a very important part of the requirements. And then finally, the selection. Well, here it's important that you create a system for collecting applications that will be part of your process that you have designed. That could already be standardized, of course. Make sure that you have a clear scoring grid with all the important aspects that you need to be able to know whether somebody is a good candidate or not, a good fit with the job, with the team and the organization or not, and have that scoring grid ready, and then make sure that you score and rank applicants according to those different criteria that you have identified, and make sure that different people in your organization are scoring the applicants based on the application letter, the motivation letter, and the CVs, of course. Set up an interview panel, maybe set up different rounds of interview panels, depending on how many candidates you have and what the position is, how many people you want to involve from the team, and design your interview questions very carefully in advance. Yeah, that sounds very obvious, but I've seen very often that this isn't prepared very properly, very thoroughly before the interview, and then sometimes it means that after the interview, when you start comparing applicants, you realize that you have forgotten to check a specific thing with one of the applicants, and that makes it difficult to really compare the applicants with each other. Yeah, so make sure that if you have important things that you need to know or want to know in order to get a good feeling for whether a person is a good fit for your organization, team, and the job that you want them to do, that you have those questions prepared, even though, of course, in an interview, you will need to be flexible and you will need to be able to flexibly respond to whatever is going on in the interview, what a person is saying, what maybe the person is asking, etc., etc. But be sure that the key things that you need to know are written down and prepared by your interview panel in questions that they are sure to ask, so that you can indeed compare all applicants equally. That is super important. And so now let's look at what you can do already now, even though maybe you don't have a vacancy at this moment. So what you can start with is designing this recruitment process, including estimating how much time you think you would need to go from realizing that you need extra hands till contracting the extra hands as a volunteer contractor or employee. And keep in mind that when you are putting out an announcement, people will need time to see the announcement, they will need time to respond, but also you and your team members will need time to go through the letters received and through the CVs very carefully, and that you need to have time to score those as well. So that will also take time. And it can be that you have a lot of applicants, so that will take more time. Yeah, I have had processes where we were expecting only a handful of applicants, and we got, I think, 70 applicants. And going through all of that takes much more time, of course, than just reading 10 letters. Yeah, so keep in mind that this time lapse is needed in order for you to be able to process everything, and also for the potential applicants, of course, to also process things. First of all, the announcement, and then, of course, if you're going to invite them to an interview, they also need time to either to maybe ask some time off at their current job, or to arrange a babysitter, or to arrange something else practically. But also, of course, a serious applicant wants to have time to prepare for the interview. Yeah, so make sure that your timeline is also realistic and allowing for the steps to really be taken seriously on both sides involved. Then see if you can develop standard operating procedures for some of those parts of the process, some of the scenarios, like the scenario where you are looking for a volunteer, the scenario where you are looking for an executive director, where you are looking for a project manager, etc., etc. See if you can develop already standard materials, like some of the standard parts of the job advert when it comes to your organization, for example, and your values. But also see if you have your job profiles developed, whether they're still up to date or not, etc., etc. So see what you can standardize in terms of texts that need to go out, maybe invitation letters, maybe rejection letters, maybe scoring grids, maybe interview questions, a preparation document for the interview panel, whatever it is. See what you can standardize there, and see what are things that you have, like the job profiles, that you might want to update or check. And if you're able to get all this done now, even if you don't have a vacancy right now, then you can be sure that you are ready to get going as soon as you have a vacancy, as soon as you have a need for somebody extra on your team. And also having all this in place will help you be very predictable, reliable, and credible and transparent, both internally and externally, in case you do have a vacancy. That's all that I wanted to say about how to find your new team member for your nonprofit organization. And the final thing I want to say to you is I am here for you. So if you have any questions about this video or about any other issue to do with management or operations of your nonprofit, then please be warmly invited to join my Facebook group and ask me anything there. You can find the link here on the screen and also below in the description of this video. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing you there and to continuing the conversation there. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video, when we're going to be talking about another HR management, finance management, organization management topic for nonprofits. See you there. Bye for now.